All right, so as we are going through the YouTube channel, you're going to see a lot of material regarding real estate investment. Those real estate investment is not only myself, there are a lot of successful investors throughout Canada that I had the opportunity to talk to them and ask how they did it. And they share their opinion, their ideas, their strategy and technique. So today's topic is finding money-making investment properties, and that is a journey for the last 20 years. Before I become a real estate agent, I was doing real estate investment, and I have my own criteria that I would pick the right properties for myself and for my client. I believe that real estate investment, we are dealing with a lot of money, so I cannot take it, I have to take it very serious to do the right thing. There is no rush. There is no emotion attached to real estate investment, and these are the big guideline for me. And also for my clients, whenever I get together, I tell them, please do not attach your emotion to the houses. And they go through the showing as well, and I notice that the sentence or the clauses or the conversation we have, there are a lot of emotion in there. So I have to clarify, I have to go through the fog and tell them you're dealing with numbers, not emotions. That's dangerous. So be aware of two things. As a real estate investor or real estate agent working with investors, here is we dealing with a huge crowd of speculators versus a savvy investor. The difference here, the key that I notice all the time, and the speculators moving left and right based on the news they hear. Now, a professional investor is looking at numbers to start with. Now, I have calls from my investors saying, can you put an offer in a land or in that house? And because you know it is good, we feel that one day we could buy. So it's all about feeling. I wish, I hope, I guess, I dream of. These are all words. Now, which I'm telling them, what about numbers? Do you know how much that property would grow? Do you know the rent? Do you know what's going to happen in the plaza behind it? And those kind of things. Even inquiring for land. I get calls that we saw land on the corner of this street and that street. Can you put an offer? I said, why do you think it would grow in value? I don't know. In 10 years, possibly it's going to be $5 million. I said, is there any pattern to that growth that happening in that neighborhood? Did you go to the city and see what is the city's growth area? And most of the time they said, no, they have no idea. So stop them from getting into emotional purchase. That would help you in long term to keep that client, because one day you serve them well. They come back to you, said, thank you for helping me build up a portfolio of successful properties. Never ever go with whatever your client said when we talk about real estate investment. Always be there. Remember, you're relying on you as a professional real estate agent. So you better know your homework. If you're not sure, the first thing I would ask you to do is to educate yourself. Now, the second thing you have to be aware is media, news, friends. I've seen cases of people buying properties. They call themselves investors because right around the barbecue, all the guys standing together with their beers in their hands, having barbecue, talking about real estate, of course. And one of them said, my cousin is selling a house in the middle of nowhere. It's amazing opportunity. It's a great price. Who wants to buy it? And some of them end up buying those properties because the only criteria they have here is the price. They don't know about growth. They don't know about rent. They don't know how fast they can rent it, and so many other factors. So be very careful. So always look for facts. Always plan. Always have a firm decision and the direction of what you want to do for your client. Now, why investing is important? These are some of the slides I bring up to my investors or the people who wants to start investing in real estate. So I have to communicate that with them. This is one of the articles I pulled up many years ago. It was back in 2010 from Global Mails, and I found it very fascinating. That was a research done by a UFT's professor analyzing the pattern of wealth throughout Toronto. Now, on 1970, the beige area in Toronto, in GTA, it was a lot of middle class. If you look at the chart up there, middle income, that's what we see. Now, on 2505, the pattern they indicating that the middle class is almost gone. It's all filled up with red, which is low income. And prediction was on 2025, which is practically next year. We see a lot of low class beige, which is middle class, is almost gone. No wonder the dollar stores are booming. No wonder husband and wife should work, and sometimes husband has to work in two different places. So these are all indication to which I'm using this article and communicate with my investors or with people, tell them get into real estate investment. You don't want to be part of the low income people. Um, you want to be successful in financing, financial success. Now, following the pattern of the rich people in North America, I pulled out this one also a few years ago. It shows that many of them, they have something to do with real estate. And remember, this is professionally done real estate. I'm not talking about individuals buying 4 or 5 homes. These are mostly developments or something to do with real estate. Now, I guarantee you 100% that out of these 30 people here, many of them, they have more than 2 or 3 properties. I just want to double check if you see my slides is running. Is okay? Can you see that everything? You have my voice?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so let's continue. Why to invest in real estate? This is the way you talk to your clients. Number one, it is a powerful tool used by wealthy people. And the slides before that, I show you how it is. So these are your tools. When you go to your real estate clients, you want to suggest them or tell them why real estate investment is important. These are the tools that you can use. Real estate appreciate in value. Remember, we're talking about long term. We're not talking about buying a house today and selling it tomorrow, in a month, or even a year. We're talking about 3 to 5 years, if not longer. Land never vanished. I'm not against real estate. I'm not against the stock market or buying a share of different companies, but generally speaking, land never vanishes. It never destroys and never build up. You cannot build a land. Is there. Once you have it, you have it. Leverage, with the power of leveraging that affect the real estate investment, you can add up to your portfolio. For instance, the value of a land can increase by the things that can happen around it without you doing anything. Or you can leverage a mortgage by buying few properties, or home equity loan you can get, buy more properties. So you can always leverage other tools. You manage it and tenants paid off. Now, I'm not talking about difficult situation here and there. I'm talking about general situation with buying a property and ask the tenant to pay for it. Out of few properties I had in the past, they were 100% successful. The tenants come there, pay on time, no problem. So they were paying down my mortgage. And of course, I was having equity in my house. Is recession proof. Now, I understand the things we go through with recession, mostly when it comes to the value of the house. First of all, is long term. Secondly, if you do your strategy properly, which I'm going to explain to you soon, there is no reason the recession would hit you. And I tell you the technique that you can do that. Financial strength, that's very clear. If you go to a bank banker, you want to get a loan, the banker said, what do you have? Well, I'm renting a house, I'm leasing my car, I have nothing. That's not the power, financial strength. If you go to a banker asking for a loan, the banker said, okay, what do you have? What is your asset? You tell them that I have 5 homes, and that's just enough to tell them that you have 5 homes. That's financial strength. Positive cash flow is getting a little bit tougher to get positive cash flow. Regardless, you can always use different strategy to get positive cash flow if you want to. It's easy to set up. Straightforward. You buy a property, you put it for rent, you rent it, and you manage it. Straightforward. You don't need to go through different courses, connect with different peoples, and set up a system, etc. That as we do with business. Business, you have to address it every single day. Properties, and that's one of the reasons I got into real estate investment rather than stock market, because stock, you have to watch it every single day. It's moving up and down due to many factors that is out of your control. With properties, if you have 5, 6, 7, 9, 10 properties, you set them up once properly and it will run for you. You don't need to go and knock at their doors every single day. Is everything's okay? Do you have any problem? And you don't need to check the value of the house every single day. Long-term. 5 pillars of success in real estate investment. Number one, of course, it is to plan. Now, whether it's for yourself or you communicate this one with your clients, tell them you have a goal. One of the things I did in the past, because anything I do it first to myself, make sure it's okay. Then I would take it to my clients. So one of the things I did when my children were small, I invested in RESP. And saying that, it doesn't mean I disregard RESP. RESP is good, but I see the growth didn't happen as I was expecting with RESP. So what I did, I bought them properties and I see how much it's growing. So that is a plan. So buy one small property and keep it for 10 years. When your kid's going to university, you can always sell that properties with a profit after tax. You can pay them to go anywhere around the world to start their life or their university. So it's paid. So this is planning. You can buy properties for investment as your RRSP, a retirement escape way for you. So it's important to have a plan. I talk to many investors or so-called investors. The fact that they are having 3, 4 properties give them pride. Well, that's not a plan. If you want to boost yourself and you said you are powerful, you know what you're doing because you keep buying homes, that is not a wise plan because you can buy dumb uh, investment properties. This is a sample that I show to my clients. You can always use the same thing to show it to your client. This is the growth that happened. If you look at this screen, and for us as real estate agents, we can easily get this kind of screen. I'm just trying to please mute yourself so you're not distracted here. Okay, so what I do for my clients, I do research. Yes, it is research. It takes time. Now, what I do, I find the property that were in the market a year ago, and then they put it back on the market to sell. And majority of them in the right condition. I'm not talking about up and down of the market. You can trace down the properties that really made money in a normal average situation with Toronto. For instance, 1107 Bonin came up to the market 2 times in 2 years, and each time the price went up. Now I pull out this kind of information to show it to my client, which is true. If you buy the right properties, and I will explain to you how, you can get this kind of result, which happens for my own personal experience as well. So I promote that one to the clients as well. This is the next one is a property in Oakville, and we can see how much the price went up. Now, these are 2 years, 2013 and 2015. And that's a price indication here. Now, as I said, real estate investment is a long term, and as you can see, it went up. So you're not buying today to sell it tomorrow. You keep it at least 3, 5, or 10 years. 5 years is better, 10 years is ideal, but that goes back to your plan again. What do you want to do or achieve? One of the strategy many agents they do is to buy a property, keep it for 5 years, pull out the home equity from that house, buy the second one, give it another 3 years. Both of them, they build up already some equities. They can pull out the money by 10th years from the first investment. You can have 3 properties. And this is very practical and it's very easy. It's very laid back. You don't need to pull your hair to put this kind of deals together. Stay educated about the market, about the interest rate, about different neighborhoods, about the growth, about different kind of properties. And that's very important because not only for you, but for your clients, you have to know what you're doing. There are many good books I read originally. I read this one by Don R. Campbell. He's the founder of Rain Canada, real estate investment in Canada. This is a great book. Rich Dad, Poor Dad was my first initial startup book that I read. It opened my eyes to many things. Third book is a book that I wrote about all the strategy we can use into real estate investment. And I put a lot of hacks in there as well. Now, if you don't take anything from this conversation, from this webinar, please remember this triangle. That is a guideline for you and for your clients. So there are a few things in real estate you should know. That's your guideline. That's your compass. Number one, you're there to make money. You're not there to call yourself professional real estate investor. You're not there for that reason. You're there to make money. Number two, there is a price triangle that I'm going to explain to you soon that you have to consider to help you navigate and find the right properties. Number three is time sensitive. They are up and down in the market. They're short term and long term, all depends to your plan. You can buy and flip. That's buying within 3 to 6 months, you have to flip the house. So that doesn't go under that kind of a strategy. So these are different strategies. Now this triangle is representing 3 categories, price categories of properties. If you want to have a solid real estate investment that is growing and is very, very successful, follow this. The bottom part of the triangle are the lowest price in the market. So if the market average price is around 700, just come up a little bit, 800, you're going to see a lot of buyers in that area. The middle area is anywhere between the bottom part, 800, for the sake of argue here, and a few $100,000 more, under 1 million, and anything over 1 million. Now, of course, the market is growing, the prices are changing, so this is something you have to educate yourself with. Now, why we get 68 offers on the smaller properties, but we don't get 68 offers on the bigger properties? Now, when you buy a house, always, always, always think that you want to sell that house one day. Is there any reason that would suppress the growth of that property? If yes, dump it, go after the next one. I remember I was showing a nice investment property in Milton to one of my clients a few years ago. It was amazing price, I think 3 years old home. It was beautiful, like a ton of upgrades. You walk into the house, say, this house is perfect. This price, the way we like to live in there ourselves. Forget about giving it to a tenant. Then you go to the second floor, you look at the window from the master bedroom, you see the back of the house is the vacant land. Any average agent would say, this is a beautiful house. We not even bother whatever going to come up on on that vacant land. I told my clients, let's do the investigation, find out what's coming up, because if all the homes are made except that land, and that's a corner lot, there should be something happening. Long story short, there was a gas station a few months after that came in that place. Do I care for my clients? Absolutely, because I'm holding my clients for long run, not short term. So I find them another beautiful house with no surprises. The last thing you want to hear is your clients come back to you and say, why didn't you check? This is a dump place. I don't like it. I cannot rent it. Smells gas all the time. I cannot sell it. If all the neighbors growing price for $100,000 in 5 years, this house is going 50,000. So that gas station is suppressing the growth of that property. So what I recommend my clients buy freehold townhouses because they are the lowest price in the market. Someone can comfortably live in there. If there is anything breaks into that house, is cheaper to fix it than changing a 1,600,000 roof, for instance, or shingles. You want to change it, it costs a lot. Freehold townhouse also is easy to rent it because you're not asking for $5,000 rent, you're asking for $2,000 rent or 3,000. Still, it is within reach of many people. And if one day you want to sell it, even there is no a recession, there's always buyers in the market. There might not be 100 buyers, there might be three buyers. Still, people can have access to that amount. Banks are not that picky. They can easily give you anything with the lowest price in the market. So for that reason, this triangle would always help you to find what kind of property and where you can buy it. I'm questioning when my clients ask them, we have a budget for 1,600,000. We want to buy a real estate investment for 1.6. And I ask them questions. Why you want to buy 1.6 if you can buy two $700,000 properties? Dig into the reason, because most of the time they don't know. They think real estate investment is buying big properties. It's not. It's to make money. So less pricey homes, less startup capital to buy those $700,000 or $800,000. You don't need to have a lot of money. It's just 20% of $800,000, which is much, much less than $2 million down payment. It's easier to buy, it's easier to sell. It's more affordable to rent, more selection of tenants therefore you have. It is more affordable in terms of mortgage. Even if it goes vacant, that mortgage would not break your back. You can still carry it for a month or two. It's cheaper to maintain. We talk about it. And bubble burst proof. No bubble can burst on this kind of homes because there's always a lineup to buy it. There is always people can afford to buy this kind of smaller homes. So find your niche. Now, once you decide you want to invest in real estate, whether you or your clients, you have to ask, what is their strategy? There is a bear strategy we call it in real estate investment called buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat, the same thing. So most of the time, what we see here is you go to Hamilton or to Burlington, you buy a house that needs repair, it's not in good condition, therefore you can get it for a better price. You bring your crew there, you fix things with a very low budget, and then you call the bank to come and refinance it. You get the money to buy the next house and you put a tenant there. You don't sell it. So that's bear. Reno is another strategy. If that's for you, is to buy a small property and fix it or add a basement, add value, add a second floor, and then flip it. I'm not a fan of that because it feels risky and it's taxable same year. I think right now government has some limitations as well in there. I'm a fan of buy and hold. I buy, I manage it, I hold it for 5 years, 10 years. I enjoy the good economy. And after 10 years, it doesn't matter, the economy is up and down. I pass that stage. With 10 years, I guarantee I can make money on that property. Again, make sure you buy the right property, and I would cover that soon. Wholesale, that's another strategy for investors, what to want to buy. Take action, make your team. It's very crucial for you to have a right home inspector that can communicate everything. I've seen home inspector comes, look at the stairs front of the house, said one of the stairs is bigger than the rest. Creates so much of negative things, which is not important, and dilute the transaction situation there. The most critical things could be possibly leakage in the basement, and I've seen that in Cambridge. There was a basement, and we went there, it was full of water. There is remedy for all of this, but then comes to the budget, to the cost. If you buy a house with a good price and then you need to pour 60, $70,000, then that is not a good buying price. A good real estate lawyer, a good mortgage broker that is understanding the investment and renting. Focus on what you do. Don't focus on selling. Focus on caring and helping and supporting your client. Evaluate every single situation. When you step into a deal with your clients with no panic, financial panic for your pocket, you're there full heart to help, you're going to be successful. It's a long term, but you're going to be successful. People are not stupid, you're not dumb. They understand very well what's going on. They can sometimes read your face and your stress level. Anything you communicate with them, visible or invisible, they can detect it. So be yourself, be honest to them, share with them the things you know. Sometimes I take my clients to the back of the house if it's passing by water power. I tell them some people believe in that. Some people, they don't believe that this electrical power would affect their life. If there is back into the highway, a lot of noise, I just disclose it to them. They make the choice. Now, I tell them if it's for me to invest in real estate, I stay away from homes that there's a reason to suppress the price. I prefer homes in a nice and quiet neighborhood rather than somewhere that is challenging for me, because you're going to have a hard time finding a good tenant as well. So just be yourself, be honest with them. So these are some of the tips. Locations. Of course, what do I mean by that? If you are buying a property next door to a gas station, for instance, or to a plaza, nosy plaza, if you are buying a house that is not user friendly in terms of accessibility, parking spot is but permit, there are so many problems, then don't buy it. If you don't enjoy the schools, then don't buy a house that is facing schools, because there is a traffic hours that is blocking the road. Growth, it is important to know the growth. Now I'm going to show you what I do. On Treb, if you go, there is a home price index that you can use as your guideline. Neighborhood, same thing. Just walk around neighborhood, make sure people are proud of keeping their neighborhoods clean and nice, because that would affect the growth of your investment. Home condition, of course, you have to make sure what kind of properties you're buying, because you have to rent it. When the tenant comes and enjoy living in this place, they will go crazy for it, or no one wants to live in this dumped house. And always answer, why should we buy this home? Why should you buy this house for your clients? For agents, you have to be honest, as I mentioned, do your due diligence for your clients, do your numbers, don't go with feeling, don't fall into that trap either. Listen and educate your listen and educate your clients. It's important to know what your clients is telling. If it is against all the rules of real estate, just clarify that with them. Go through some numbers. Work and serve your client's benefit, not your benefit. That comes second. It's like a boomerang. You throw it, how it comes back to you. What goes around comes around. Now, there are learning material I suggest you to use. These are extremely handy. If you go to wowa.ca, there is plenty of information there that you can have access to that would put a lot of light in different topic of real estate investment. For instance, this one is showing the GTA that the price of homes are selling at different prices. So you can get some direction or idea. If your client said, can you buy a house for me in, let's say, Mississauga? You can clearly tell them the price of Mississauga based on this picture. And this is changing all the time. Should I wait till the market crash? I believe that there is always good properties that you can buy. This is the question of many clients asking me, should we wait until the market crash? First of all, we don't know if the market would crash. Secondly, don't think you are the only ones waiting for this kind of situation. Thirdly, there's always good properties. There's always desperate sellers that you can sit and wait and catch it if you are in the market, actively in the market. And I've seen that all the time. Doesn't matter, the market is up and down, there are always good opportunities. But first goes to your numbers. Make sure it makes sense. Should I buy a condo or a house? Number one, with condos, you have maintenance fee. House or freehold townhouse, they don't have maintenance fee. Maintenance fee is going up. Someone has to pay it. Why an investor should pay? So that is taking away from your positive cash flow. House is good, but make sure you start with freehold townhouse, then maybe a semi. Detached, I'm not a fan of detached because you put a lot of money and for the same reason that I explained earlier. Now this is Toronto Real Estate Board Home Price Index. I strongly suggest you as a real estate investor for yourself or for others, go and grab this one. It's coming up once a month with different neighborhoods and for different size of homes or style. So for instance, these are the two sample of apartments and single family homes. Now looking at, let's say, Mississauga, and the second version as well is Mississauga. It shows you the benchmark price for Mississauga. It shows you the growth of 1 year, 3 years, 5 and 10 years. Usually I don't pay attention to the months and the first year, but I'm looking at 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years because that is already passed through all those up and down of the market. So look at Applewood, which is below the area that I marked, and it shows within 10 years, it went up 84% for homes, single family, but not necessarily for apartments. So if your client said, what do you think? Should we buy a house or apartment in this neighborhood? Well, look at the chart. Numbers are very powerful. If you have a hard time convincing your clients, refer them to this third-party numbers or value or data. This is talking to them. You may not be able to convince them, but the numbers would convince them. So that's very important. These are your tools. That's what you have to use as a real estate investor. That's what you have to use as your own education. Also on the same side on wowa.ca, there are also tools that you can use. For instance, here we have real estate investment trust would teach you how to do that. Cap rate calculator, rental property calculator, rent versus buyer calculator. You can use these tools. This is helping you if you're really focused on real estate investment. These are great tools. Should I wait until market crash? We answered that. Third one, where should I start? As a real estate investor, you start with mortgage. See how much you can afford, where this money is coming from. Are you pulling it from your own home? Then that should go to your calculations because you have to pay the interest for that house. Your calculations include your expense, which is your mortgage, tax, and insurance. if you have home equity, that interest should be also covered. Your income is your rental. These days it's getting hard to find positive cash flow unless you go far away from GTA or you go for multiplexes. Could be duplex, could be triplex. Once you get to fourplex, we're talking about commercial. So I stay there. Triplex is okay. The only issue you have to make sure, usually I don't suggest duplex to brand new investor because of the conflict that could happen between one tenant to another tenant, unless you 100% sure you're in control and there are good people sitting there. What about if I make a mistake? Well, try not to make a mistake, but mistakes is costly. In terms of buying a house, do your due diligence. In terms of hiring a tenant, be very particular. Don't close your eyes into some exceptions. I had cases that over the phone, it was amazing couple. And I said, okay, let's add another layer of protection for my client. Let's meet in the house. I show you the house. Then what I saw was totally different than what I was assuming. Even on the paper, everything. I caught people using Photoshop to come with letter of, employment. Just be careful. So if you do your due diligence properly, you shouldn't have any mistake. You shouldn't have any problem. Where and what to invest. We already covered that one. Invest based on your budget. If you have a limited budget, then check which neighborhood can offer you that budget and go from there. Make sure you're not buying properties too far away that it's hard to manage it. My farthest place I went was Kitchener-Waterloo in Cambridge because they have a strong economy situation. I don't go to a nowhere city, there is no economy. Remember, economy is one of the things that you have to consider. If I go to the west side of GTA or east side, my tendency here is to go towards the west side because economy is based on different factors. Kitchener, Cambridge, Waterloo is a tri-city that has many different manufacturing there. So if one industry comes down, the other one would hold it. Toronto is great. We have movie, we have IT, we have banking, we have trade, we have so many industries that is supporting the price and holding the price there. That would be a disaster if you go to a city that the only industry is mining, and then tomorrow they shut down the mining, and you know what's going to happen to your house. So pay attention to which city you go and what is the reason. Is there any transportation coming to that place? Any GO trains opening station there? Transportation is another factor you have to keep in mind. I think that's end of our. All right. If you have any question, you can always get back to me later on, or don't forget this coming Monday, we also have our role play. Next Thursday, we have another webinar talking about production and the hacks we can do, smallest things that would transform our business. And I recommend you to join us next Thursday as well. So as I said, if you have any question, get back to me, give me a call, and all the best and enjoy the rest of the week. And thank you for joining.